All right, guys, welcome back. I want to do this video, and I want to do it right now. Even though some people might be getting tired of me talking about this H&S 2-star Tedder, I want to talk about some of the things that I don't like about it and some of the issues that I found with it that I don't like right from the either design quality or build quality. There's a couple things that aren't major. Don't get me wrong, they're not going to be major things, but they are some little things that could make this Tedder much better than it already is. So I'm gonna do that video, and because I want to get this thing put away. And the problem with having a shed with only one door is everything's got to come in and out and get rearranged. I got to pull the car out, the pickup truck, the hay wagon, the sprayer, and the hay bine. I got to pull all that stuff out of there so I can put this back in the back. Because we won't be tedding hay right away first. I need my sprayer first, and then I need the hay bine after that. So I try to put things in the shed in order that I'm going to use them. So rearranging the shed's probably going to take me an hour or so to get that done. So I want to do this video and explain some of the things that I found with this Tedder, and then put it away until we need it. So bear with me, guys, for one more video on this H&S 2-star Tedder. I'll get right back with you. I have to run some errands. I'll be back in about, well, for you guys, just a second or two. All right, guys, I'm back now. All right, I want to get into some of the things here on this thing that I don't like. And again, they aren't major. They're not going to cause any problems or anything. It's just they're little things that are going to annoy me that I think could be a little bit better. Now, like I say, I'm not an expert on any of this stuff, especially the design or the build quality. My 3 or 4 engineering classes I took in college do not make me an expert on anything, but being a mechanic, usually mechanics complain about engineers, so I have to try to maintain that as I go along here. So anyway, right off the bat, starting here in the front, right at the very front here at the hitch. This hole here measures 1.25 inches, which is a very large hole in this hitch for a pin, and it's too big. I'm going to say it's way too big for a Tedder this size. This is a tiny little Tedder. Most of your tractors that you're going to use on your Tedder are small tractors. You're not going to put it on a real big tractor very often. And this being such a small Tedder, you're going to use a little tractor. So it's and the problem with having a hole that big is most guys will use a hitch pin, let's say like this. This is a small hitch pin. This is what I use on my hay wagons. This is the biggest hitch pin I can get in my hay wagons. So a lot of guys are going to drop that little pin in there. And as you're going through the field, all you're going to hear is, that's all you're going to hear behind you. So, and it's annoying hearing that, but worse yet, it's going to wear out this hitch and these holes here. It's just going to keep working away at it, keep bouncing around, and pretty soon that hole's going to be twice as big as it is. And I don't know, I wish they would have had a smaller hole. You could fix that. I could make up a piece of pipe and stick it down in and weld it fast, and then like bushings to try to make it smaller. But so what I'm going to do is try to put the largest pin in that I can get in there and get in the rear of the 395 here. So this is the biggest pin that will fit in the 395. Now this hitch pin is from the baler. It's from my New Holland baler that I have on the 986. It's the biggest hitch pin I can get through the hitch on there, and it will fit in this hole here. So this is going to be about the biggest. I think it's an inch. So if this is 1.25 inches, you're still going to have a 1/4 inch where it's going to be rattling around. And you know what? Just looking at this hitch pin, that's bent. This was brand new at the start of the year, and that hitch pin is bent. And that is, I'd say, is a result of making hay on hills. That it was enough to bend that, because I know I didn't hit anything or have any issues, but I bent the hitch pin probably working on these hills here, so all right. It is a hardened hitch pin, but that's funny to see. Anyway, so right away, that's the first thing. Don't like it. The hole's way too big. Guys are using small tractors. It didn't need to be that large. Probably could use some modifications to make it better, to make it a little bit better. All right, I'll get into the second thing here. You guys, in my assembly video, I had showed you guys this here, that they, for this bracket here to clamp this adjusting lever here, they just have one small little tack weld on it to hold it, and I don't have a whole lot of faith in it, just because it's not welded very solid. It's something. Now granted, it's not doing anything. All it's doing is holding this rod in a place, but could have at least put another tack underneath on the underside to make it a little bit stronger. A lot of guys said watch that this doesn't bounce out and get lost in the field. Somebody had suggested putting a little safety chain on it. That's a possibility also, and there isn't much left in there when you do have it clamped here, so we'll have to watch that. Same with this one up here. Somebody had suggested to flip it around, that way if it does, excuse me, if the clip does fall out, that way you don't lose it in the field, or that it drops down while you're tedding and breaks your tedder tines. That's another good piece of advice I'm probably going to follow. All right, so the other thing, we got that. The other thing I don't like about it is, now this isn't heavy enough to need a jack. You don't need a jack or a stand to hold this tedder. It's real light. It's easy to push around by hand. The problem is, right now I have it adjusted all the way so that these tines aren't hitting the ground. But if you want to unhook this in the shed when you're done with it and you want to leave it adjusted where you have it, when you set it down on the tongue like this, these tines, you're basically setting the whole machine on the front tines that are hanging down. See if I can't demonstrate that here quick. A little oil. So that right there, two turns, 2.5 turns, you're sitting on your tine. So when you unhook this thing, you're going to have your tines bending around and stuff. So being that you don't need a jack for this thing, you don't need to be able to jack it up. What I would like, and this is going to solve the second problem that I have with this tedder, is why couldn't they include a stand or something? You know, on the older equipment, you had like a pipe inside of a pipe with like a bolt or something to hold it. That was kind of the just a stand so your tongue isn't sitting down on the ground. Now granted, I could put a block under it or something, that'll help too, but why couldn't they include a stand on the side here when you're storing it, so that way when you do unhook it and stuff, you can set it on the stand, your tines won't touch the ground, and in addition to a stand, they could have included a place to store this PTO shaft, because this PTO shaft just sits there and there's really no place for it to sit other than right on the tongue. So like a stand combination with a bracket to sit your PTO shaft in. Like I say, it's not major, it's something I could make, but it's just one of those things. It's these are cheap tedders. I understand that. They're built to a certain price, and that's what they have to do. They can't you can't have everything for the price of them. I understand that. So those things there kind of bother me. Somebody had mentioned that these tires, they are the same size as the front lawnmower tires, and somebody had told me that these here tires, once you start getting flat tires, that if you use a lawnmower tire, they don't hold up. My solution for this tedder is going to be, and I know flat tires on tedders are common, they're just tiny little wheels going through the field. All it's going to take is one flat tire here on this farm, and I'm going to take them both off and take them to my local tire shop and get them foam filled. That's going to be my fix. That foam has come a long way in tires. A lot of guys fill them with fill their skid steer tires with them, so you don't have flat tires. It's not too expensive, especially small tires like this. I had a wheelbarrow tire that was always going flat. It was cracked and dry rotted, and a guy had recommended I try the foam. I took it to the tire shop. I think it was like, I don't know, it was a little more than buying a new tire, but not much. So they foam filled the wheelbarrow tire, and that's been on for like 15 years now. So probably that's what I'm going to do with this. If I start getting flat tires, I'm just going to take them off and get them foam filled. All right, so what else? trying to think. Other than that, the shipping is what it is. There's scuffs and scrapes. It's hard to see on camera, but there's a lot of places where you see that the metal had rubbed when it was shipped in the crate. You're gonna have that, and that's not really H&S's fault. I don't know how it was packaged, but your shippers and your people handling it over and over again. But they did include the touch-up paint, like I said. So just right off the bat, those are some of the things that I don't really like about it right now. Before I even get it to the field, like I say, in this stuff, I'll put it this way, it's all stuff that I can do to modify it. I can make a smaller hole for the hitch pin. I can put a stand with something for the PTO shaft. I can re-weld that there, but I just want to kind of give an overview of some of the things, some of the annoying things that I found with it. Like I say, I am fussy, and being a mechanic, you start to notice stuff in build quality the longer you do mechanic type of work. So just some of my thoughts on this. I think we're going to be done now making videos on this Tedder. I'm going to get it put away. And I think the next time we'll be revisiting it is when we have hay laying on the ground. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this series on the H&S Tedder. Would I recommend somebody buy one? I don't want to do that yet because I didn't run it in the field. It's hard to... There's guys out there that will show a piece of equipment that they don't own, they've never run, but yet they'll recommend it to everybody. I don't want to be that guy. I want to field test this. I want to get some acres on it, and we'll see how it does. There's always a potential that something could happen to it. And I haven't had to call H&S, so I don't know what the customer service is like. So we'll find all this out together as we go along here. So just on the assembly, buying it, assembling it, yeah, that's one thing I wanted to cover. All right, I bought this unassembled. Yes, it was kind of a fiasco trying to get that other wheel. They had sent me the wrong parts. Eventually I did get it and got it all assembled. So I did keep track of how long it took me to put this Tedder together, and I have about an hour and 20 minutes in the assembly from start to finish. And that includes my time making videos here and filming, stopping every so often to film different segments. About an hour and 20 minutes. So if I would have bought this from my dealer assembled and ready to go, field ready, versus the way I did it this way, bringing it home in pieces and putting it together myself, it saved me $350. $350 doing it myself, assembling it myself, and bypassing the setup at the dealership. So you guys can see for an hour and 20 minutes, that was worth $350 to me to do it this way. So just another tip and trick there to show you guys, give you some of my knowledge on the subject. That's a pretty good amount of money. And it's not hard to put together. There was nothing that I really had to strain or struggle or try to figure out other than that wheel that we got figured out. So it is what it is. If you guys are looking for one and want to save some money, you can still buy new and see what you can do as far as getting it unassembled, putting it together yourself. All right, guys, that's about it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned. We'll have some more interesting things to cover.